Once upon a time, in a lush green valley where the sun glowed gently through the leaves, there lived a little dinosaur named Dina. Dina was not like the big, roaring dinosaurs you might have heard about. She was small for her age, with a long, curly tail, and her skin was the colour of fresh mint leaves. Dina loved to watch butterflies fluttering by and listen to the wind whispering through the tall ferns. Dina lived with her dinosaur family in a cozy cave nestled between two big, mossy rocks. Every morning she would wake up, stretch her tiny legs, and peek outside to see what adventures the day might bring. But Dina was a bit shy and nervous. She preferred to watch the other dinosaur kids play from afar rather than join in. Sometimes, when a big dinosaur stomped too close, she would hide behind a bush until she was sure it was safe. One sunny morning, as Dina was munching on some sweet red berries near her home, she heard a soft chirping sound. Dina turned her head and saw a tiny bird hopping on the ground nearby. The bird had bright blue feathers and a little yellow beak. It looked lost and worried. Dina wanted to help but felt nervous. She remembered how big and scary she must seem to such a tiny creature. Still, she took a deep breath and tiptoed closer, trying her best to look friendly. "Hello," she whispered. "Are you okay?" The little bird looked up with watery eyes. "I can't find my nest," it chirped. "I flew too far and now I don't know where to go." Dina's heart filled with worry for the small bird. She gently lowered her head so she wouldn't look frightening. "Don't worry, I can help you. My name is Dina. What's yours?" "I'm Pip," said the bird, ruffling its feathers. "I want to go home, but everything looks so big and strange here." Dina remembered how it felt to be scared and alone. She wondered if she could really help Pip, but she wanted to be brave for her new friend. "I'll stay with you, Pip. Maybe if we look together we can find your nest." Pip smiled for the first time. "Thank you, Dina." With that, the two new friends set off through the green valley, searching for Pip's home. As they walked, Dina tried to remember all the places where she had seen nests before. There were nests high in the acacia trees, and some hidden in the tall grass. The world seemed so much bigger when you were looking for something small. "Was your nest in a tree or on the ground?" Dina asked gently. "It was in a tree," Pip chirped. "I remember it was a tree with white flowers and lots of long branches." Dina looked around. The valley was full of trees, but not all of them had white flowers. "Let's look for trees with white blossoms," she suggested. They passed by the riverbank where dragonflies danced over the water. Dina showed Pip how to watch for shadows of flying birds so they wouldn't get surprised by any big flying creatures. Pip giggled and flapped his wings, feeling safer with Dina by his side. Soon they reached the edge of the forest. Tall trees stood like silent guards, their branches swaying in the breeze. Dina was a little nervous. She had never gone this far from home before, and the forest looked dark and mysterious. Pip noticed Dina's worried face and chirped softly. "Are you scared, Dina?" Dina nodded just a little. "A little," she admitted, "but I'm trying to be brave for you." Pip hopped onto Dina's tail and gave her a gentle peck. "You're already very brave. You're helping me even though you feel scared." Dina blushed and smiled. "Thank you, Pip. Let's be brave together." The two friends stepped into the forest. Sunbeams danced between the leaves, making patterns on the soft dirt path. Every now and then, they saw a squirrel or a beetle, and Dina would greet them quietly so she wouldn't frighten Pip. After a while, they came across a family of rabbits nibbling on clover. The baby rabbits twitched their noses curiously. Dina asked, "Have you seen a tree with white flowers and a nest in its branches?" The mama rabbit thought for a moment. If you keep going straight until you see the big boulder, then turn left, you'll find a grove of white-flowered trees. Maybe you'll find the nest there, Pip fluttered with excitement. Thank you, Mrs. Rabbit. Dina smiled and thanked the rabbits. Together, she and Pip walked on, feeling a bit more hopeful. As they travelled, Dina noticed how brave Pip was being too. Even though he was tiny, he never gave up hope. Soon, they reached the big boulder. It was covered in moss and looked like a giant green pillow. Pip and Dina stopped for a rest. Dina pulled some sweet berries from a bush to share with Pip. They sat together, munching quietly, watching the sunlight shimmer on the leaves. After their snack, they turned left and entered a small clearing filled with beautiful trees covered in white blossoms. The air smelled sweet and fresh. Pip looked around eagerly. "This looks just like home," Pip chirped, flying up to the lower branches to look for his nest. There were several nests in the trees, and Pip looked at each one carefully. Finally, he called out, "Dinah, I think I see my nest." Dinah's heart leapt with joy. "You did it, Pip. You found your home." But as Pip flew closer, he realized there was another bird family in the nest now. Pip landed beside Dina, looking a little sad. "That's not my nest anymore. My family moved on." Dina felt a lump in her throat. She didn't want Pip to be sad. She gently nudged him with her nose. "Maybe we can find your family if we keep looking. Or maybe you can find a new home in this beautiful grove." Pip thought for a moment. He looked around and saw that there were many friendly birds in the trees. Some were singing, others were feeding their babies, and some were building new nests. Pip flapped his wings and looked up at Dina. "I don't feel so scared anymore, not with you here. Maybe I can make new friends and build a new nest." Dina smiled proudly. "You are very brave, Pip. I'm so glad we met." Just then, one of the birds in the grove called out, "Hello, little one. Are you looking for a place to stay?" Pip chirped happily and fluttered up to meet the bird. They began to chat, and soon other birds joined them, welcoming Pip. Dinah watched as Pip was welcomed by his new feathery friends. She felt warm and happy, but also a little sad. She would miss Pip. Pip flew back down to Dina and gave her a gentle nuzzle. "Thank you for being brave and helping me," Pip said. "You're my best friend." Dina's eyes sparkled. "I'll come visit you whenever I can," she promised. "And if you ever need help, just call for me." Pip fluttered his wings in joy. "I will. And if you ever feel scared, remember, you can be brave too. You helped me when I needed it most." Dina nodded. She realized that even though she was small and sometimes scared, she could still be brave when her friends needed her. She said goodbye to Pip and started her journey home, her heart full of pride and happiness. On her way back, Dina noticed how the birds sang a little sweeter, the leaves looked a little greener, and the world seemed a little less scary. She thought about all the times she had felt too small or too shy. Now she knew that being brave didn't mean never being scared. It meant doing the right thing, even when you were afraid. When Dina returned home, she told her family about her adventure. They listened with wide eyes and proud smiles. Dina realized that everyone feels scared sometimes, but everyone can be brave too. From that day on, whenever Dina saw someone who needed help, she remembered her adventure with Pip. She would take a deep breath, stand tall, and offer her friendship, knowing that even the smallest dinosaur could have the biggest heart. Dina became known throughout the valley as the little dinosaur who helped everyone. She made many friends, both big and small, and every evening, when the sun set and the stars twinkled above, Dina would look up at the sky and think of Pip, safe and happy in his new home. Sometimes Pip would visit Dina, and together they would explore the valley, sharing stories and laughter. Dina's bravery grew stronger each day, and so did her joy. And so, in the beautiful green valley, beneath the tall whispering trees and the wide starry sky, Dina the little dinosaur lived happily, always ready to help others, always ready to be brave, and always filled with love. And that, dear child, is how a little dinosaur learned to be brave by helping a bird find its nest. The end.